league matches ever.
You know what, Kelsey, it's got to be up there. What a game.
And it was fitting that City old boy Cole Palmer had the final say in that crazy 4-4 draw. Well, that's if Pochettino's project at Chelsea has finally taken off. What a game, and after all that drama, Chelsea are now in the top half of the table. Manchester United also got a win, and that moves them up into 6th place. These are the clubs that are supposed to be struggling. Villa won their 13th home game in a row. They stay in 5th. Liverpool and Arsenal have now leapfrogged Spurs after a bad week for them, while Manchester City go into the final international break of the year, a point clear at the top. Down to the bottom, Sheffield United aren't rock bottom anymore. They have been replaced by Burnley, who lost at Arsenal. Bournemouth are now out of the relegation zone after they beat Newcastle. And Everton have gone 8 points clear of the bottom three after a thrilling 3-2 win over Crystal Palace. So it feels like it's all changing in the league as we head into the international break. But what drama there was at Stamford Bridge. And with us to discuss that and all the action of the weekend, Darren Lewis and Aston Villa and Scotland captain Rachel Coursey. Rachel, we talk about that game being dramatic, but Villa got their first win of the season in the WSL.
We did, which shouldn't be dramatic, but after a tough start, it was a nice feeling. And it's funny how your body actually feels less sore as well the day after a game when you get it.
Yeah, everything feels a lot nicer after all that. But look, it's been a tough start, as you say, not just in terms of results, but in terms of the level of opposition that the team were playing against. So does it feel like it's going to even itself out a bit now over the coming season? I think so. Just that feeling of getting over the line, getting the first win, I think, away from home as well. Getting the first goal and then managing to sort of steady the ship and then going and get a second, I think was really important for the group. And I think just emotionally it's felt a good week. You know, there was cup in the midweek as well, which got a good result. So it's sort of 2 on the bounce. And I think we need to take that confidence and enjoy it and keep it going. That emotional uplift that you get from a win and what you get from a point in the way that we saw Chelsea get it against Manchester City. I mean, that's as much a factor as pretty much anything else in terms of Pochettino establishing himself.
Well, he's taken his time to build it into that, because we've seen that they struggle against the so-called mid-table teams and the low-block teams and the teams like Man City, Arsenal's and Liverpool's. They open up, so Chelsea are able, with the quality that they've got, to actually make some headway. But in respects of that particular game and what they've done, towards the end, I was really rooting for Chelsea. You know, which was something that I don't ever. Never root for Chelsea. Yeah, but there's something about them, the way they play, the way that they've had to continue to, like you mentioned about the confidence. They're trying to find confidence in something to get them somewhere. They create chances, but they miss chances. The centre forwards getting a lot of negativity, even though he scored a hat-trick. And, you know, you're trying to find confidence. And then when you get it, when you play against a team of that caliber and you get something and you go at them and you keep going at them and you get something, this is why I wanted them to get something, is it gives you such a lift and such relief that, yes, we are good enough, we can do this, and now we just got to build on what we're doing. It's
one of those games that everybody's going to remember. Maybe not the greatest Premier League game, but it's certainly in that kind of that block of matches that will live long in the memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Great games always have lots of goals, obviously, but they've got that drama as well. Obviously, there is that epic one between Liverpool and Newcastle.
Two,
exactly. And a week ago, we had another one, didn't we? The one between Chelsea and Spurs. I actually think once a month, every team should play with 9 men.
9 men. Yeah, you have to choose which two. Okay, we'll do it.
The players won't buy into that, don't they?
The defenders have to be on the halfway line.
Haaland rule bringing in last season that everybody gets a go of him at some stage.
Yeah, everybody gets Haaland. For one game, you can choose the game.
If I would have had the president of the Premier League, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, that is the beauty of this league. And there are lots of people who look at some of the leagues around Europe and they say, look, this league is predictable. One or the other team will win. This league is very different because on any given week, you can get huge games like that, and you can get matches where teams rewrite the script, and that's what Chelsea beat.
Yeah. Arsenal have been involved in they've been involved in a couple of big 4-0s in the Premier League.
Yeah.
The one at Liverpool was the one that is, probably the most memorable. I think almost as much as anything for Arshavin's celebration in this as well.
Yeah, but I couldn't understand it because I think...
It makes it 4-3 this goal.
This one makes it 4-3, but I think he actually to our he's shushing our fans.
Yeah, he wants to his own fans.
Look, he says, I can't. Firstly, he's saying, I can't believe I've scored 4, and then he's telling them to shush. But that was an unbelievable game. You rightly mentioned the Newcastle Liverpool games, especially what was on the line for Newcastle. But like, you always feel in these kind of games, you a loser. Anyone who's losing, you feel really unlucky for them. It's like that brilliant Arsenal-Tottenham 4-4 at the Emirates as well. You kind of feel like, yes, so many goals have been scored, a draw is quite fair. And I thought that the Chelsea City game, Rich, I thought that was really fair in the end.
I think the interesting thing about the Chelsea City game as well. Now, sorry about this. I love the stats. So just let me indulge me a second. It's 9 times now this season we've had a goal in the 90th minute or later, which is incredible.
Teams are going. Keep going.
They're going right to the end. It's amazing.
I mean, we were actually on the team bus coming back from the game, which was perfect entertainment. But I just enjoyed the fact that Chelsea felt they could go for it. They were true to their system. I think a lot of teams play, they feel they have to just be so condensed and compact because you have to respect how good City are, and that's fair enough. But it was actually a game that ended up, the last 30 minutes was end to end.
It was
just constant.
like a basketball game. You know what was good about it? When you watch it, because, Chelsea are going to press them high, and City are going to try and play out.
Absolutely.
So how long can Chelsea keep doing that so as then they can get something from it, and which they did. And we know City are not going to do anything different. And this is why, because the players are so good and the quality was so good, and some of the times you made one mistake, like I'd say that the Haaland goal, what he slid in, Caicedo, where the ball was right down in the bottom of left half, like down at left back, and he's got to see the danger quicker. And that is what Man City do. They will punish you. If he doesn't get in front of Haaland or get close enough to challenge him, Haaland turns, they're away, you're scoring a goal. And that is the thing what I found. So I was like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. It's brilliant.
You see all of the elements. I mean, there was a wonderful save from Sanchez when Haaland breaks through and shoots with his left foot. And you think that's a certain goal. And then he stretches out one-handed, keeps it out. There was a goal from Akanji who beats his marker with the ball in from the left-hand side. There were those moments of individual skill where Sterling and Cole Palmer tried to slalom past central defenders. And even the one where Palmer doesn't score, you still applaud that willingness to actually say, you know what, I'm not going to set off the sideways and backwards, I'm going for it. That's the kind of game that has you on the edge.
But again, with the game, it's a game like that. You can look at City and they're able to score 4 goals when they're not doing their greatest stuff. But what they do show is like, for instance, the Akanji goal you mentioned. All of a sudden, there's a short corner, and you look at Bernardo Silva. When you watch it getting ready to happen, and so you see it, Rach, when you're watching it, you say, he's in far too much space. And then all of a sudden, you're looking at Akanji, no one's picking him up. And then you think to yourself, well, all this needs to be is a very good ball in, and then bam. Those are the margins against City, and that is what Chelsea have to tighten up on, because they probably wouldn't have conceded 2 goals had they been a little bit more sharper in their defensive work.
But Rodri said it afterwards about Manchester City, when we're going to go away and take not a lot of lessons, but we know what we did wrong in that game. And he seemed actually angrier after the draw than Pep Guardiola did when he eventually came out to face the media. But, the players will know what they've done wrong in that game at Manchester City. But from Chelsea's point of view, as you said, that's what they wanted to do. Is this like a Pochettino blueprint now? Does it feel as though this is a game, and actually the one on Monday night, where we see what he's trying to do with this team?
I think, just going back to the first point, I think there's been a lot of question marks over Chelsea, and they've had a lot of players come in and not perform to the level we've expected. And I think a lot of people have, piled on a lot of pressure saying, where's the mentality of the players at Chelsea Football Club? And I just feel that yesterday was such a huge moment, I think, for those players just individually and as a collective, to say this is what we're about. And we do know what it's like to wear this badge, put on the shirt, step up, and touching on then the games they have to come. And I think you can look at it in 2 ways. I think you look at it one way and you go, tough 5 games, counting the 2 past, 3 to come. But there is a different mindset when you're playing these types of teams that are really, really strong, competitive Premier League teams. And you have a different vibe in training. The build-up to the games are different. Everyone says it's a professional thing. You take each game as it comes, you prepare the same. There is something difficult when there's just that little bit of extra on the line. And I think now they've had 2 results in those types of caliber games. I think now this is a big test for them. Can they keep that up? And I think they've proved to themselves more than anyone else. Yeah, we can.
It's going to be interesting, Kel, simply because we've seen that they can, on the break, they're very dangerous, Chelsea. They can pass through the lines very quickly. I thought their midfield got stretched a little bit too much. I think when Enzo came off and they put Conor Gallagher in there, it felt a little bit more controlled. So they're going to have to look at that. But in the main, Chelsea's problem will be the low block teams, because you're going to then need your striker to link properly. You're going to need your striker to take half chances, because teams are coming to your place and they are being resolute. And we've seen that with Chelsea, and they've missed a lot of chances. If they can sort that out, then you can look at Chelsea and feel like something's is happening. They're cooking something.
It's borne out by the stats, because they've only won once at home in the Premier League all season, and that was against Luton at the end of August. So it is the case that teams are coming and saying, look, break us down, and Chelsea are not finding a way to do that. But it might be the case that the confidence they get from this game, they can sustain that, and maybe it might be a turning point.
Chances in games which they've been creating, if you take those chances in games, as you all know, Rach, when you're playing, it gives you a whole different, energy in the first 10, 15 minutes of a game, because you calm down instantly, especially if you're away from home, or even if you're at home, because then you could calm down and then you could start thinking, right, let's lay out the plan, what we're going to do. You can relax because we've got the goal. And then you miss that goal, and it can go the other way, because you can start feeling, oh no, we've missed another chance. And then they might have a chance. They score, then you feel the pressure of everything.
Question.
Yeah,
all right, Kel.
Cool. Right, Kel.
I really like the confidence of Nicholas Jackson. The third goal that he scored the other night against Spurs, where he's in on goal, and he actually is a little bit swagger about him before he goes around the goalkeeper. It feels as though that's carried on into this game with the way that he took the goal yesterday. Do you think now it's starting to come naturally for him?
I think what you noticed more than anything with the chance yesterday, and it's not a slight on him. I'm not saying, but he didn't have enough time to think about what he had to do, because the shot came back at him so quickly. His touch was good and then he finished. So you don't think. You can still do the same things when you're finishing. You can train your mind to be clinical in your mind in what you're doing when you've got time. Like Dennis Bergkamp used to say, go cold, kind of blank things out. And I think that, especially with that goal against that team in the environment, will be very, very good for him, because he looks to me like somebody who's got a lot of confidence. You can tell. Yeah. He's playing against 9 men. He scores a hat-trick and he's celebrating like he's won the World Cup, right? So you know that there's some booziness.
Hang on. You're not gonna dig him out for a...
No, I'm not digging him. No. But what I'm saying is, the point I'm trying to make, what I'm slowly getting to, is that if you've got that confidence where you can do that, where everybody's pointing, you're saying, well, you're against 9 men. You can then build on that confidence, and I think that goal yesterday will give him even more confidence, because he's had to breach a very good defence and do it very quickly, because the way he's been spoken about, his touch had to be good and his finish had to be quick. It had to be very quick, bam, bam, and he did it.
There were a real collective effort that was put in there, as you said, Rachel, about having that extra edge when you're playing against top opposition. We saw that in terms of their pressing stats. That's the most they've pressed in any game so far this season, 244 times,
wow.
I think it was. But also in individual performances. You mentioned a couple of players there. We'll come back to Raheem Sterling, because he was like a man possessed in that game.
Yeah.
But also for Cole Palmer. You've got a young player. The phrase that I heard was, City's boy is now Chelsea's man, which shows the sort of development of him as an individual. He's, left Manchester City, he's gone to Chelsea. They're in added time of the game. They get a penalty. He's hanging around in the pouring rain for 5 minutes before he can take that penalty. And it just doesn't look like it's flustered him even slightly. Look, he doesn't even look that happy to score.
Look, he's saying what?
Yeah, and
the great thing for the headline writers, they called him Cool Palmer.
Yes.
That's a great, I like that.
I did there. But the numbers actually, they speak for themselves. He's a young boy who's got so much maturity about him already. And you look at the way that he takes responsibility in games. I think in one of his previous games, he actually wrestled the ball away from one of the more senior players to take a penalty. That's a really good sign in terms of his willingness to basically say, and his leadership and stand up to be counted. And I think it's a big thing to say, I want to leave a team that is the top of the Premier League. They've won the treble last season. He's got a fantastic track record of developing players, Foden, Oscar Bob as well, coming through and doing superbly well. But he's got tremendous belief in his own ability, and that's why he's at Chelsea, and that's why he's doing so well.
You can see that his path, it would have been so difficult. Even if he could have broke into the City side, which we saw him break in, but obviously sporadically, didn't play a lot of games. But for him to be in there and be a regular you will see Grealish or even like Doku's going to is becoming, but for Bernardo, for him to get that level, it's going to take so much, especially with their capabilities. So for him to not only leave a club of City size, and then to go to Chelsea, a Chelsea side, once they get it going, Chelsea will challenge and be the main man already, literally hit the ground running. It says a lot for his character. And I think that even the penalty yesterday, everybody's waiting to see, let's see if he's got any bottle. And all the stuff I got on my WhatsApp group.
Do you think he was going to score?
You know something? I was worried for him. I really was, because I didn't want him to miss. With everything that's happened with him at City, the fact that he's had to leave, he's playing against them now, they've come back to his place, he's now the man at his place, and he's the one who's got to take the penalty to get the draw. I just wanted him to score because it's a better ending. It's a better ending and an ending that he probably needs in respects of the decisions he's made. So I'm really pleased for the way it's gone for him. And now it's been called up, right? So, I'm really, really pleased. Yeah, I'm really pleased that he's been called up. And so we'll see how it goes from here. But again, you get a player of that caliber who...
It's big game situations where it's kind of external pressure. And that, I think I'm paraphrasing. Do you remember what he said? No? Okay.
What did I say?
No, Owen said it. Owen Hargreaves said it when he was in. I think that's kind of roughly what he was doing.
It is a good point, because he is basically someone who's saying, when I think about my level at the moment, I'm not willing to wait and get 6 minutes at the end of games here and there. I need to play. I need to play now. I need to play at a high level. I need to play for a manager who understands my game. And I need to be surrounded by players who are going to elevate my game to another level. Because if I don't think I'm going to make the kind of progress that my ability, and that you talk about arrogance, but the right kind of arrogance, that my ability demands. And I think what he's doing, he's even changing the minds of journalists, because the way he's now framed himself in our minds is that he's a player to be taken seriously. He's a player to be considered for the big games. It is not a gamble to put him in for a big match against any level of opponent, because he's just gone and done it against the champions of Europe.
And his old team. And I think when you look at him and what he's done up to this point, you have to say that the chances take, he wouldn't be nowhere near the England squad if he stayed at City just to think, I can do it. He would be nowhere near. He's not even near their first team. Now, he's played a few games. Has he played 10 games yet? I'm not sure how many games he's played up to this point. 10, 12 games, whatever it is.
In every game
But we're not talking about 50 games. No. You know what I mean? And he's in the England squad. So the decisions, I think it works out 9 Premier League games he's played. He's in the England squad already, off of the back of the decision he's made to go to Chelsea. Backed himself, and that is what you want to see, because it makes people think, I'm not going to sit around neither. I'm going to go and make something happen. His career's already in like beast mode.
Talking about beast mode, that's linking very nicely.
Nice one,
Before we do, one more thing on Cole Palmer, which is you talk about that sort of confidence bordering on arrogance in a positive sense. Just the sheer bravado of going over and joining in the City huddle.
I like the way his body was so limp when they pushed him away. I love that. That's the kind of stuff I would love to do on a pitch.
What I love about that image, right, is Ruben Diaz turning to go, doing it.
We do.
All the whole laughing as he's pushing
because he's obviously one of those characters. He's one of those characters that's a really funny character to have around. That's why you can do that with him. But that's, again, it's such a serious game in the moment. For him to find that joviality in there, which again says a lot about his personality.
I wanted to talk to you about Raheem Sterling as well, because it was an incredible performance from him. And yes, in terms of all the things we know he can do, but I don't think I've seen him with quite that fire in his activity. But even down to the booking that got towards the end of the game for that tackle. I would say robust.
It almost had some seasoning. There's some nastiness in him, wasn't there? Yeah, and I think he gave Kyle Walker a real chasing. You don't really see that too often. But like he did,
I liked it though.
Yeah, I did like it.
It's enjoyable to
He
watch.
looked like he had a point to prove. And when you look, I saw a graph the other day. They showed his stats and his take-ons for Liverpool, how high they were. He went to City and obviously they've dropped off because there's so much going on. And now at Chelsea, he's gone back up. He's starting to go up again because he's now able to get on the ball and take people on again. Whereas when it was City, he had to make sure that he linked play and make sure he's in the certain space and that. But you're looking at him now,